silence of mediocrity to disperse expansive, game-changing marketing wisdom. This is the Jeff Payne Show.
Reaching for a higher place than we can reach alone. Get up, get in, it's time to win. This is a Jeff Payne Show.
There's a version of, quote, "we're too niche for this to work," end of quote, that I hear from smart people all the time. Whether it's epigenetic research or a 1031 exchange specialist, even a dental lab doing highly specific implant work. Each one convinced their industry is the exception, being too narrow, too technical, too boring for anyone to link to them. Here's the thing. They're right that their industry is narrow. They're wrong about what that means. Hello, I'm Jeff Payne. You're listening to The Jeff Payne Show, episode number 22. You're not too niche to get links. You're too literal.
And now, our feature presentation.
I want to credit where this is coming from. There's a podcast I followed called The Edwards Show, and a recent episode broke down a case study buried in a 2023 Reddit thread on r/SEO. 3 years old, still one of the more useful link building breakdowns out there. It's worth reading yourself if you're into the mechanics. Here's the short version. An agency was building links for a chemical manufacturing startup, venture-backed, competing against giants, doing everything right, relevant content, real website, good traffic, and they ran into a wall. There simply aren't that many chemical manufacturing blogs. You can do everything correctly in a niche this narrow and still run out of runway a matter of weeks. So here's where it gets interesting. They didn't lower their standards. They widened their aperture, moving from chemical manufacturing specifically to engineering, industrial, and manufacturing sites more broadly. Same rigor, same quality content, just one ring further out. 2 months later, they outranked the major players in their space for a keyword everybody assumed was locked up. The instinct in SEO is that relevance means exact match. Your industry, their industry, identical. But relevance isn't a category. It's a distance. Engineering isn't chemical manufacturing, but it's one credible step away. Real estate investing isn't 1031 exchanges, but it's close enough that an expert quote doesn't feel forced. The businesses that get stuck aren't failing because they're niche. They're failing because they're treating, quote, perfect fit, end of quote, as a requirement instead of a preference, and burning months looking for a website that may not exist. I've watched this play out with Daniel Goodwin, who runs Provident 1031, real estate investment and 1031 exchange strategy. If you've never heard of a 1031 exchange, that's the point. It's about as narrow a niche as you'll find. There is no ecosystem of 1031 exchange blogs waiting to link to him. So the play wasn't to find that ecosystem. It was to make Dan the source adjacent sites would want to quote. A published book, a masterclass video series, extensive guides, the kind of visible expert positioning that makes a real estate investing site, a financial planning site, a broader property site. Think, this guy actually knows this. What moved wasn't raw link volume, it was keyword concentration. Fewer total keywords ranking, but as much higher share sitting at positions 1 through 3. That's what earned authority looks like when it compounds. Here's a second one, and it's a cleaner illustration of the same math. Burbank Dental Lab is one of the top dental labs in the country. On paper, that's a brutal niche for links. There's a hard ceiling on how many dental lab websites exist to link back to you. But a dental lab doesn't actually live in a dental lab niche. It lives inside implant technology or restoration, because the dentist and clinician it serves are the same people using digital scanners, guided surgery systems, and CAD/CAM workflows from companies like Cadre. Burbank Dental Lab has earned live backlinks from Cadre right now. Not a directory listing, a real link from a company one ring out in the same clinical ecosystem, because the relevance case writes itself. Same customer, same workflow, adjacent expertise. That's the whole insight in one link. There's a line from a different SEO writer named Charles Float. That applies here too. Worth remembering, whichever direction you're building links. An unindexed backlink passes exactly 0-page rank. Doesn't matter how clever the placement is if it never gets seen. If you run a business in a genuinely narrow niche, stop auditioning every website in your exact category and getting frustrated when the list runs dry. Do this instead. List the industries one step removed from yours. The ones a reasonable person would believe you'd have something to say to. For Burbank Dental Lab, that list is obvious once you see it. Nobel Biocare, whose photogrammetry and digital workflow tools feed the exact restorations Burbank Dental Lab fabricates. iTero, whose scanners generate the files Burbank Dental Lab receives. Neither is a confirmed link yet. They're the next targets, not a victory lap, but the relevance case is already built. That's the easy part done. Then ask, is there a founder or expert in your business credible enough to be quoted, not just linked? Adjacent sites don't want another guest post from a stranger. They want 10 seconds of your expertise dropped into an article they're already writing. Ask yourself honestly, are you still hunting for that one perfect website that covers your expert or exact niche? Or are you building the kind of expertise that gets you invited into rooms one step outside it? That's the difference between staying stuck and staying found. Hey, if you've listened to this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcast, I want to thank you so much for listening. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye now.
Thank you for listening to The Jeff Payne Show.
Find the complete archives of all episodes at jeffpayne.net or subscribe for free at Apple Podcasts and never miss an episode.
This program is copyrighted by Jeff Payne Incorporated. All rights reserved.
Each week we bring you a message of inspiration and hope, remembering that true hope is available to all through Jesus Christ.